Washington, City Council Member.
Jody O'Cady, City Council Member.
Ronnie Price, Mayor.
Homer, City Council Member.
Phil Hamilton, City Council Member.
Tim Berry, City Council Member.
Buck Buchanan, Police Chief.
Rick Lance, Director of Public Works and Utilities.
Julie Boyd, Interim Planning and Zoning Administrator.
Chad Russell, Fire Chief.
Matt Kane, Finance Director.
J.D. Klaus, City Attorney, and Dana Ingstrom, the City Clerk, who's making me a photocopy.
Les Mangus, Director, Community Development.
Jolene Graham, Assistant City Administrator.
Jennifer McCausland, City Administrator.
All right, at this time, Randy Sexton from Epic Church will lead us in invocation. How you doing, sir?
So please pray with me. Heavenly Father, we thank you that we can turn to you now. We know that you hear our prayers, and we thank you for the grace and love that you offer to all. We pray your blessing upon this meeting. Pray that you would just grant a spirit of camaraderie and goodness. Pray that you would bless those who have to make decisions, grant wisdom and guidance for all. And we lift up our police and firefighters. Pray that you would bless them as they stand by ready, and that you would grant wisdom and courage as they go out on their calls. And we pray that you would continue to bless the city with your peace and grace. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. If you would, join us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, this time I'll open the floor for a public forum. If you would, state your name and address and keep it short. Oh, boy. I said short, Mr. Rackley.
I've never been told short. My name is, well, whatever. My name is Scott Rackley. I live at 630 East Shade here in Andover. Mayor, City Council members, staff, I come before y'all tonight. I just wanted to bring up a topic of discussion that I know is coming back due here in a couple of months. I want to talk about ASM. That's for those that don't know, that's the people that manage our amphitheater. So here, about 2 weeks ago, maybe 3, I'm not 100% sure. The Gridiron normally has their pepper rally and all their fun stuff there. And I've got to be a part of it the last 2 years. And as much as I was looking forward to it this year, I was highly disappointed. For those that don't know, ASM likes to charge their citizens astronomical fees to rent that thing out. Now, I don't have my research, and I can come back at a later date with my numbers, but I remember here, probably last year sometime, where the council approved astronomical amount of money, a little over $300,000 to supplement ASM. That's fine, but that's taxpayer dollars we're using to supplement them. I know they haven't been very busy this year. They've had a couple of concerts. But the thing is this. We're getting ready to roll up on that, and I'm almost positive we're going to have to supplement them a fairly substantial amount. And that's bothersome to me because here we are as taxpayers paying our money. ASM's supposed to be doing their job. They can't bring the money in, so us taxpayers are having to help supplement that via you guys approving it. So this is the major problem I have. You've got a school system and some other occupants that want to use that building, or just even the amphitheater, not just the building. And they're being charged astronomical amounts. I would urge you as a taxpayer, a city council groupie, that when this comes back around, we really think long and hard before we just supplement them astronomical amounts of money to make their budget to help serve their need. I don't know about these guys out here. I don't make a whole lot of money, but what I do make, I work hard for, and I'd be dadgum if I'm gonna let some company come in here and manage something that the citizens have paid for time and time and time again and get charged astronomical amount. I know you can't do nothing about it tonight and you can't fix the past, but we can at least try to fix the future. Any comments, questions?
Mr. Mayor, there's a question. Do you, do you know what the charge was, what they were wanting to charge this year versus was it free in the past? I apologize.
I know last year they had to get an insurance policy. I don't know if that's for liability reasons or not. I did reach out to the guy and haven't been able to get a hold of him. But like I said, I can come back with some better numbers and whatnot. But ultimately, I wanted to come before you guys tonight because, like I said, I got to be a part of it the last 2 years. It's fun. It's fun for the kids. But also at the same time, like, we didn't get to do that this year.
Mr. Mayor.
I was involved in the entire process. It was $300, $50 per hour for a 6-hour rental.
Mr. Mayor.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for coming and saying that. I had no idea. I remember the first time when we had the amphitheater there and the first year of the Gridiron Club, that when they asked to use the amphitheater, and we agreed unanimously to not charge. And we've done that every year. And I wasn't aware of that last year and what even happened this year. So thank you for bringing
Well,
that
I've
to our
talked to
attention.
several of the city council members, and I won't mention names, but at the end of the day, like, we all agree. And granted, it may have been $350, Miss McCausland, but at the end of the day, they're a nonprofit organization. I mean,
There's probably a few organizations that we should allow to do that, and I think the Gridiron Club is one of them. So, thank you.
that's all I got.
But to be totally, for people listening, audience, be totally clear. The amphitheater has cost us citizens money since the day it was built. So you have to compare apples to apples before you make a statement on what the citizens are paying, because we've never made money.
Oh, I understand that.
We've lost a lot of money.
I understand that.
So they do better than what we did. We had staff out there till midnight after the concerts. We had the council members jogging and getting acts. So there's a lot more there than just talking about $300,000 or whatever the number is. I'm not sure that's the number. So just to say, we hired them so we don't have to be out there late at night, and we were losing more money than you can fathom on that. So until you know those numbers, you really can't talk about the number that we give them to bring the concerts in. They brought in more concerts this year than we could, and better acts. So it's more than just that. you
Well,
know.
that's a very valid statement, Mayor, but that's
I just
still
want to make clear, you don't know how much money we were losing before we started paying
Well,
them.
I'm sure we're losing hand over fist.
Yeah. So just,
But
all
when
right.
you got nonprofit organizations trying to do it together,
so
it'd be no different than a senior center.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Anyone? Hello.
Beat you to it, Mayor. I'm Charles Friedrichs, 1109 East Rosemont Place. I come before the committee to ask for assistance, or direction, I guess. So I live in a home that backs up to Central Avenue, and we have a stormwater drainage behind our home. And I've approached the city about it over the last 6 years, had several people out to look at it, oftentimes get the runaround. Totally understand. But the issue at hand is I live upstream of someone that has dammed up our property and the neighbors to the west of me. The position is that it was a civil matter sometime around 2020. I didn't want to force the issue, so I raised the backyard approximately 12 inches to try to accommodate the dam that they had created. We had a really dry couple of years from 21 to 23, but the problem has came back and the neighbor continues to raise their lot. So what I would like to know from the city is I'm up against a wall here. I've got two options because my backyard has an embankment that goes up to a concrete wall that faces Central Ave, and my house lives on a hill, as most people's do if you have a basement. So my options are this: since I can't get it downstream, I can dam up my neighbors and the committee and can have as many more problems as you want, or I can pump it out to Central, where you're getting ready to put in a sidewalk. So my position here tonight is to try to get some help, because every time I talk to the city, I'm told, well, our attorneys are out of office. And I've had that excuse for the last 3 weeks. So I'm glad the attorney's here tonight, because I'd like to speak with him. That's all I have to say. I've got images. Where the actual grade, if you want to know the details, the actual grade has been raised from construction approximately 14 inches on the east side of my property. So I had to bring my property up approximately 14 inches. And if you want some math, if you lay a layer of sod across something like that that's level and it holds back water in a 20 by 25 area, that's 1,000 gallons of water that sits in my yard until it goes through the soil.
Mr. Friedrichs, what was your address again?
1109 East Rosemont Place. They're supposed to be by design, and actual finished grade was 2 feet of fall from property line to property line. And that's how every property line was supposed to be designed. Obviously, so you don't flood basements. And that's the other issue. I can't go any higher because it's going to flood my basement. We have approximately a foot of fall now, and I've got images that shows how it lays out. But if you go back from that dam area where I've had to raise it up, all the fall is in the first 15 feet of my property on the north side, or on I guess it's the west side. So it settles in that other 3/4 of my backyard, and it can't go anywhere. And we've tried to work with the neighbors. We tried to take the civility route, and I'm up against a wall.
We've recently had the same problem with another neighborhood where a neighbor felt that they could do the same thing, Chuck, and it's something we're in the spot with as well. So,
Mr. Mayor, can I ask a question?
Yeah, absolutely.
Mr. Friedrichs, have you gone to the HOA?
Yes, I have.
Okay, 'cause when I lived over in Crescent Lakes, we had the exact same issue, and the HOA stepped in and made the property owner that was damming up the back drainage area to the only storm drain in the backyard. They made that resident clear all that out and get back to what it should be.
So I've recently met with the HOA. I met with the HOA in 18, met with the HOA in 21. At that time, they took the same position as the city. And of course, I didn't want to rub elbows in a negative way. So we raised it. Now they have a different committee, and they're in some ways giving me the runaround. But where we're at, honestly, to give them some fair thought, is we're just trying to bring all parties together. I've got obviously I'm a business owner here in town. I've got a legal counsel on retainer. We've already started that process, but that process isn't going to last. Even if I sue these people, which I'm well in my right to do, it's not going to last without the city starting to make an example of something like this. You can't do this to people. And why do we have drainage codes if they're not going to be enforced by the city we live in and pay taxes to?
Has our code enforcement already come out and spoken with you or anything?
Yes, sir. Mr. Landsworth there was in 21. And I've got to give Mr. Perez props. He's been out a couple of times, but he's been told by his supervision that attorneys are out of office. And that's been going on for 3 weeks.
Is this, I was trying to look at an aerial map. Is this against that wall that you have in your backyard? Is that where the drainage is going? Is that what you were saying?
Can I bring you some photos?
Yeah, that's fine.
Chuck.
If you flip through them, you'll see a photo of from one end of my property line all the way into my neighbors upstream of me. And you'll see where the water stops on the property line. Now, the photo that you just had in your hand was with a just under a half an inch of water. The photos that you see that there's actually a really good standing amount of water is with 3/4 of an inch of rain.
That's a lot of water.
Oh, there you go.
So are we speaking of the neighbor east or west of you?
That's the problem.
It's the neighbor downstream, which is going to be to the east of us.
Okay.
And if I may elaborate, one of the problems, now, I can't speak for them, but I think maybe one of the problems that the reason why they keep elevating me, trying to give them some credit here, is their property was actually finalized on their downstream end 1.5 feet higher than what it was designed to be. And I've got that paperwork too, where the city in whatever year bought off on that, but it was supposed to have 2 feet of fall. Now, I've been told that the reason why it wasn't at its planned grade is the house to the east of them was already in place. So back to the solution is, my only solution is to pump it south where you're getting ready to put a sidewalk in the next few months or year.
So maybe it's coming that way. You were thinking, oh, they going that way.
I could pump it east, but we all know, if you've watched Dateline, how that works out.
Here's the creek over here. So that's, and Yorktown's, New Yorktown's gonna be here.
All right. Council have any other questions?
No, I mean, I think we'll look into it. We're not going to solve it, I don't
Oh,
think,
I know
tonight.
Yeah.
I just came
Clearly
for
from your
some-
pictures, there's obviously some kind of drainage issue. Don't know how we resolve it, you know, if your HOA is taking a step back. So,
Well, if I may, you know, collaboration is key, communication is key. I think that, you know, if we could have that communication, that would be very pleasing. I think it would have mileage. Thank you.
thank you.
You want to take this, you want your pictures back, Chuck?
No, I've got them.
Okay, thank you, sir. Anyone else?
Will we give those pictures to Dana, right? Do we
yeah.
need to?
Yeah, we can. You have something, JT?
Well, yeah, I mean, this is the second meeting I've been at where we have this concern, and I thought I'd like to advise the council. I just want to make sure everybody's done talking before I do that. This is an opportunity for people to speak, not to engage, and so we just want to make sure everybody's had a chance to speak. And then I would like to talk a little bit about some of these stormwater issues that we're hearing about.
Anyone else for public forum? Oh, you want to talk? Are you done? I'm sorry.
We got to close public forum, I think. and then
Right,
JT.
right. Let's make sure he's done. I know how this works. It's been a minute. So you done, JT? All right. Anyone else for public forum? All right, this time the public forum's closed. Acceptance of agenda.
Now JT wants to talk.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't want to interrupt the public forum. I just thought it'd be an opportunity to clear up some confusion. So at common law, the way to think about this is water, particularly stormwater, is the common enemy. Meaning that when you're getting water you don't want, every property owner is sort of on their own as it relates to handling that water. Here's what the city does. We devise a drainage plan when these developments are built. We make sure that from an engineering viewpoint it works. And before we issue a certificate of occupancy to these homes, we make the engineer certify that the drainage plan was built to, or that the property was built and graded to the drainage plan. And I would maintain that if everybody would do that, it would work. What happens is, and this is not a city rule, Les and I were just discussing, we do have a stormwater ordinance, but it's about affecting the quality of the stormwater more so than it is sort of the quantity of stormwater. When people go in and alter their property without a permit, without a grading permit, and without anything else, there's very little the city can do about that. This is a civil matter. If you are adversely affected by another property owner's actions, you need to address it with that property owner. An HOA, where people have agreed by contract to maintain certain standards, can do something. But unless the activity was unlawful, noticeably unlawful, there's not really a role for city in a stormwater dispute. I was here 2 weeks ago, and I mean, I think one of our issues is staff always tries to be helpful at the city of Andover. They really do. And we go out and we investigate it and we look at it, and maybe we're creating the impression that the city has a role in that. Our role is going to be limited to being a witness in a civil matter if one is brought as to whether or not the work that was done by somebody complies with the drainage plan or created a problem. That's what we're going to do. We do not police drainage. I'm sure the chief's pleased to hear that. We do not. These are civil matters. So while we want to be helpful and we're all concerned, and honestly, in some cases, what these property owners have done to dump water off on other property owners is probably a civil law violation because it's created a nuisance for the other property owners. And that's a lawsuit that can be brought, but it can't be brought by the city. It needs to be brought by the affected property owner. And so we can be supportive morally. We can be supportive as witnesses if it's constructed, but we don't really, to my knowledge, have a legal remedy at this point as our code is set up. Somebody talked about drainage codes. There's no drainage codes. I mean, there's the subdivision regulations and there is a stormwater drainage ordinance. And I'm going to look at that because Les brought it up this week. I just want to be careful, I guess, as a city council in offering too much by way of promised assistance, because there really isn't that much legally that we can do when an affected property owner has been affected by another property owner's actions. We could do something, quite frankly, if it affected the public property, the public trust, the public drainage, the public sidewalk, the public streets. But here where it creates drainage problems for individuals, most of those are civil matters. And that's just all I wanted to say, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. All right, consent agenda. Oh, wait a minute. Back up a little bit. No, acceptance of agenda.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
I move to accept the agenda as presented.
Second.
Any further questions or discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion carries 6-0. Milestone awards. And Buck is going to lead us through this.
And of course, I need this. That's a milestone there when you have to have your glasses, I'm sure. So Miss Angelica, would you please come up? Mayor and Council, I thank you for doing this tonight, especially because I've said this before and I'll say it again, that doing these the way we do them by quarters is a lot better than the end of the year when we're trying to do everybody at once. So it kind of makes it towards, not as many people and more special with the people that are up here. Also, it's nice because we can have family members and friends that get to support the team members as well. So tonight we have Sergeant Angelica Sell, who joined the police department in July of 2020. What a perfect time to join anything. So she was one of our COVID babies that started with us. She graduated from the 270 training class in October of 2020. And of course, they did have shutdowns during the academy. It was all mask and sorry, everybody was sick. So she was promoted to Master Officer 1 in July of 2022 and then sergeant in May of 2024. She's currently assigned to the patrol section, serves as an acting watch commander as a sergeant. Angelica's extra duties is including the Crisis Intervention Team Officer, CIT is what most know that as, a social media strategist, and previously a Awards Board Committee. Hopefully, we're trying to get her this coming next year, is one of our goals is to be a drone pilot, to earn those wings. as whenever it goes for next year. So prior to coming to Andover, Angelica was worked in as a bank teller for 2 years. And then also she was born and raised, for most people don't know this, in Andover. She went to Andover High School, which I'm trying to date somebody else that's here for their awards tonight. He was actually her SRO. As he told me tonight, we're getting old. Yes, we are. She holds a bachelor's degree in criminal justice from Wichita State University. And so good facts about her, she as well as her supervisors. That's one thing when she's been moved around the last couple of years from supervisor to supervisor, readjustments, new people, new officers. And there's been obviously worry when you're having to move between different people, but each one of them have pretty much told me she's a natural leader. Before she was even a sergeant, her natural, when they would be gone, have to step out or whatever, she likes to step up into the role and take charge and help mentor as much as she can in those positions. And even more so as a sergeant, because when the lieutenant is gone, she is running that shift. So every one of them has said, hey, she does great with her team and her crew, and they don't have to worry when they're gone. Especially when, with having 5 years on and only a couple of years as supervisor, that's really, really impressive. Don't want to go too much more. I don't want to give out too much personal information, but I think something big's coming up next week with her. Yep, getting married. Just we haven't discussed the name. Do we have to change the name tag yet? I don't know. Or is he going to change it? I'm not sure. So, okay. So yes, please help congratulate me with Angelica on her 5 years with the police department.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Come on up. So with me tonight, we have Heath Kinsel. So Heath is a Match Patrol Officer / SRO, School Resource Officer. And he started with the Andover Police Department in September of 2010. Graduated from the Kansas Law Enforcement Training Center, class of 211. So Angelica 270, Heath 211. That's wow. That was back in 2011 is when he actually had to graduate. He was promoted through the ranks of Match Patrol Officer 1, 2, and 3. So he's gone through each of those ranks and is currently signed as an SRO at Andover High School and also Cottonwood Elementary School. And even though they're assigned to those individual schools, he also has the other schools that he'll fill in when the other SRO is gone. So really, technically, he has 5 schools that he's a major part of, but also has relationships with those that are down south. So he really covers 10 schools in the district as a group as SROs and does a fantastic job doing that. So prior to coming to Andover, Heath was a youth pastor for 12 years. That's why he's fit so well in those schools, being able to relate with his students, staff, and teachers. His extra duties, and this is a long one, includes being only one of 2 child passenger safety technicians. He is also CIT trained. He is previously a member of the Wards Board Committee. He serves as, and this was a kind of a neat thing about Heath, he was the coordinator for the police and fire cookout. So back in, oh my goodness, can't even think of the year, 2012 maybe, we had the explosion of the propane tanks down south. It was National Night Out. So we decided to, and he was part of the committee, said, let's move this, let's develop the cookout. And Heath was a big part of that, bringing that together and making it successful for many years. A lot of planning, a lot of work went into that. And Heath still, up to when we stopped doing it, was a big part of coordination and a lot of that. So amazing part to that. Currently, Heath, one big thing I love about what he's done is he's been instrumental in creating the department's peer support program, and he's one of the peer support specialists. That's something new we've done. We've looked, and it's been his passion. So it's one of those, if you got that many years in the department, you start kind of losing, you're just here. And he felt like he's just kind of just here and wanted something more. He wanted to give back. So that was one of his babies. He said, I want to do something different, and I want to do this. So he took the training, went to classes, and helped develop a policy. So he went full-fledged, and you can see that passion. It's there again. So we're fortunate to have that. It's important for our team to have somebody there that's wanting to have that role for the department for years to come. So not just for this group of folks, but for many years to come, that's going to be a legacy that he's really going to leave with us. So in 2016, and this isn't a surprise because I just mentioned a lot he's done. In 2016, he was the Officer of the Year. And he also holds a bachelor's degree from Wichita State University. So one last thing about Heath, he loves to hunt, loves to fish. And I put this on here because it is, if you took a picture of the ultimate outdoorsman, his picture's there. I mean, you see pictures on Facebook, everything else, and it's about fishing and hunting. I mean, that's his life, and his kids and wife, I should say that as well. But that's what he does. When he takes off the uniform, it's about, connecting with nature and everything else. So we're blessed to have Heath, and especially how he's got a new drive now to help others in our department. So please help me congratulate Heath on 15 years with the police department.
Mayor, City Council, I would be remiss if I didn't take the opportunity as you are recognizing this 15 years to say thank you back. It's been a privilege to serve. I look forward to however many more years I have. But as I look around the room, I see the people that have encouraged me and prompted me and prodded me and pushed me to continue to serve. I just wanted to say thank you.
Thank you. Presentations, 8/1/2024 audit presentation, and Kayla Williams with BT and Company is going to speak to us. How are you tonight, ma'am?
I don't know yet. Okay, hopefully everybody has the audit in front of them. There are kind of three different pieces to that big pile that is in front of you. So one piece is the actual audited financial statements. That's going to be the bigger packet out of the group. The other is an additional report that we did this year called the Results of Examination of Compliance with the U.S. Department of Treasury.
Pardon me for a second.
Sorry, Q.
Do we have a copy of this somewhere?
It's on your consent agenda.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Mhm. Yep, so the exam report, it's a mouthful, so I won't restart that whole wording on it, but it's essentially the results of your examination of your coronavirus funds. And then the other letter that's in there is a letter addressed to the city council, and that's what I'm primarily going to focus on going through with you guys. That'll kind of help to explain what those other two documents are as well. So on the first page of the letter, that is where we address our responsibility to perform an audit in accordance with specific accounting standards. So those standards require us to perform procedures to obtain reasonable assurance about whether the financial statements are free from material misstatement. Our procedures include examining on a test basis evidence supporting the amounts and disclosures that are in the financial statements. We also assess the accounting principles used and the significant estimates made by management, as well as evaluate the overall financial statement presentation. So in the city's 2024 financial statements, that is, most of that report is the actual financial statements. The first two pages are where we give you guys our opinion. And so I'll start things off with good news, and that is that we did issue an unmodified opinion on the regulatory basis of accounting. So that is the highest level of opinion that can be issued. I will come back to the opinions here in just a little bit, but so that's all good news right off the bat. In the next section, we do explain to you about a change in our audit plan that occurred since our first communication with the City Council on February 17th, 2025. During the audit, it was determined that in lieu of a single audit, the city could instead engage us to perform this alternative compliance engagement. And so it's a little bit of a different approach, but the federal government allowed that for entities that received a certain amount of COVID funding and not other funding. So the city fell within the allowability for that. And so we ended up doing this separate engagement. So that's why you have that second smaller report. And I will tell you the results of that was that we found that the city did comply in all material respects with those specific requirements. So another level of good news there. Back to the letter on page 2 in the section titled Accounting Policies and Practices. This is where we would bring to your attention anything identified related to significant alternative accounting policies or practices, any new or changed accounting policies, policies in controversial or emerging areas, or any significant unusual transactions. There were no such items for me to bring to your attention. The last section does explain that there is an accounting estimate that is part of your financial statements. More information about that estimate is attached to the letter. Ultimately, that estimate is your net pension liability, which is just a footnote disclosure in there, but it is based off of an actuarial report that's considered an estimate. So ultimately, we looked at that report and determined that the estimate was reasonable. The next section explains that we did have some audit adjustments identified as part of the audit. Those are also attached to the letter, and management has agreed with those, and we'll be recording those in the city's financial statements or in the city's trial balance. We're not aware of any uncorrected misstatements other than misstatements that are clearly trivial. If you turn to page 3, this is where we describe what is considered to be a departure from the auditor's standard report. So this is where I wanted to talk a little bit more about your audit opinions. Because the city adopted a resolution last year to waive the requirements for US GAAP, this is where we have these 2 separate opinions. Each year we're required to report on US GAAP. Ultimately, we give an adverse opinion on that, and we describe that the reason for that is because you have waived that requirement. And so instead you present on the regulatory basis of accounting, and that is where we gave you an unmodified opinion. So just want to give you a little bit more clarification on what that part of the report means. If you turn to page 4, in the observations about the audit process section, this is where we would bring to your attention any disagreements with management, consultation with other accountants, significant issues that were discussed with management, any significant difficulties encountered in performing the audit, or other difficult or contentious matters that required consultation, and there were no such matters to bring to your attention. At the bottom of page 4 starts a section titled Shared Responsibilities for Independence. As an accounting firm, we are required to follow AICPA's independence rules, and independence is a joint responsibility that we think is best managed when all parties work together. So we just ask that the city inform us before entering into any transactions that would impair our independence. Finally, at the end of this letter, we attach a copy of management's representation letter. This letter just puts into writing the matters that are required by our standards to be represented to us by the city's management. We just provide this letter to you because we think that it helps you as a governing body to better understand your financial statements and help you fulfill your fiduciary responsibilities. So before I open it up for questions, I just want to thank Matt for the long, grueling process, but for dealing with us throughout the whole thing, and Jennifer and the rest of the whole team. So thank you all very much. Are there any questions from the council?
Any questions? Excuse me, any questions?
So essentially we passed.
You guys passed. I could have just said that, I guess.
In-depth questions on from this panel right here, I'll tell you. Anyone else?
Okay,
All right, thank you
all.
very much. Appreciate it. All right. Consent agenda.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
I move to approve the consent agenda items 9.1 through 9.4 as presented.
Second.
Any further questions or discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion carries 6-0. General obligation bond bid award series 2025A. Clayton Kelly with Piper Sandler and Company will talk to us about this. How you doing, sir? Good.
Clayton Kelly with Piper Sandler. Mayor and council members, thanks for allowing me to speak tonight. There are 5 action items related to the temporary notes and the bond sales from earlier this morning. To recap those, the temporary notes, the city secured financing for a wastewater project. The total amount of that financing was $36,235,000. And so essentially what happened this morning was the city put in a request to receive bids for participating banks. And the city received 5 bids this morning as a result of that sale. The winning bid was from KeyBank Capital Markets at a 3.36%. And when we're trying to analyze, was that a good result from those 5 bids, or, how does that compare? Really what we look at is how closely those bids were, how competitive were each of those bids. 3 of those bids, the top 3 bids came within 0.09% of each other. So really good result for the city on the temporary notes. I will say from a short-term interest rate perspective, the city has timed this actually pretty well. Just what we've seen with interest rates, when we were first looking at this several months ago, we were going to be happy to get under a 4% rate short term. So since that time, interest rates have dropped. We've seen an improvement in the market. Overall, from what the city initially planned to pay over that time frame for the temp notes, is about $500,000 less than planned for, based on that 3.36%. In addition, it comes with a prepayable anytime call on April 1 of 2027. So pretty quickly after issuance, the city can, at the completion of the project, if there is leftover proceeds, apply that towards downsizing the temporary note before locking in permanent financing. From the bond issue side, the city received 7 bids. And again, just kind of looking at competitive result, that one actually had 5 bids within 0.05% of each other. So a very competitive result for the city from that perspective. And if you look at the interest rates, honestly, not that far off when you compare the temp note to the 20-year bond financing, with the winning bid from FHN Financial Capital Markets at a 3.92%. Again, we're continuing to see improvement from an interest rate perspective for securing financing. So for both financings, really good timing for locking in, especially specifically as well the permanent financing for the bonds. And just a reminder, that helps permanently finance several of the city's special assessment projects, as well as Yorktown. And essentially, from initially planning several months ago to today, that lower interest rate at that 3.92% resulted in about $1 million less interest over that 20-year period than what the city was planning for several months ago when interest rates were higher. So pretty big impact of that. And the bonds come with a 8-year call on that. So if the city chooses to use additional funds to try to pay down that bond early, it becomes an anytime, no penalty ability to do that starting in 2033. So overall, really good result for the city. Closing, so those funds become available October 30th. So there's a little bit of lag time between now with approval through these 5 action items that approve the bid, the ordinance for the bonds, the resolution for the bonds, the bid approval for the temp notes, and the resolution for the temp notes. And several different items that JT and his group will coordinate and put together and get approval for. But October 30th is that closing date for both of these financings. So with that, I'm happy to take any questions that you guys have.
Any questions? No? All right. Thank you very much, sir.
And I will just mention one other thing, sorry, from a credit rating perspective. So that's a big part that the city and the city staff, Matt, Jolene, and Jenny all work really hard on, putting together a credit rating report. And so that is a big factor in the final interest rates and the perception from investment banks. And it actually goes to show with how well that city credit rating is, and continuing to have a solid credit rating for these types of financings results in even higher interest from banks than you would typically receive with a lower credit rating. So not only the final result of the winning bidder, but also just the competitiveness of receiving 5 bids on the temp notes and 7 bids on the bonds has a lot to do with that credit rating.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
I move to award the purchases of the Geo Series A 2025 bonds in the amount of $12,230,000 to FHN Financial Capital Markets at the net interest cost of $6,447,194.78.
Second.
Any further questions or discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion carries 6-0. 10-2 bond sale and GOB Series A 2025 ordinance, and Matt is going to talk to us about this.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. We have an ordinance prepared for you by your bond counsel. If you have any questions, I would direct you to him.
Any questions?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
I move to adopt an ordinance authorizing the issuance of the Series A 2025 general obligation bonds of the city of Andover, Kansas.
Second.
Any further questions or discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion carries 6-0. 10-3 bond sale GOB Series A 2025 resolution. Again, Matt will talk to us about this.
Good evening again. We have a resolution prepared for you by the city's bond counsel. If you have any questions, I'm sure he could answer them for you.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
I move to approve a resolution describing the form and details of the Series A 2025 general obligation bonds of the city of Andover, Kansas.
Second.
Any further questions or discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion carries 6-0. 10-4, Series A 2025 General Obligation Temporary Note Bid Award. And again, Matt will talk to us.
Good evening. Just echoing everything that Clayton already told you. Any questions?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
I move to award the purchase of the Series A 2025 temporary improvement notes in the amount of $36,235,000 to Key Bank Capital Markets at the net interest cost of $3,570,979.38.
Second.
Any further questions or discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion carries 6-0. Series A 2025 General Obligation Temporary Note Resolution.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
I move to approve the resolution authorizing the issuance of $36,235,000 in the city of Andover Series A 2025 temporary improvement notes.
Second.
Any further questions or discussion?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
just one. JT, approximately how long does it take man hours for legal to review these past 5 series obligation bonds?
Well, so we have hundreds and hundreds of hours in doing all the special assessments for which the projects are supported here. Today is a record setter for us though, because when he has the bid sale this morning, we actually try to complete those bond documents. The bond documents in your packet are complete with all the terms, the interest rates, the premium, and in this case, the general obligation bonds. I don't know if he mentioned the winning bidder elected to have bond insurance, which ensures the payment of principal and interest on the bonds. I only bring that up because I don't want you to be confused. That doesn't let the city off the hook by any stretch of the imagination, but it does mean that there is a bond insurance company there to pay the bondholders if for some reason the city does not. So we incorporate that all into the documents. Between now and closing, what we will do is we will assemble all of that and try to persuade the Attorney General of the state of Kansas that we've done it all correctly and that the specials can be levied and that everything would work. The temporary notes, of course, are easier. You authorized those a year ago in a not to exceed $40 million amount, and that's why there's only a resolution. So That will ultimately, however, become a general obligation bond or a revenue bond of the sewer system. I predict a general obligation bond, but, so I thank you for asking that question, because we didn't do anything else today, because our goal is to make sure that you have everything before you as it was done today at 10 a.m. We're not going to be filling in those blanks later. We've tried to get it ready to go, and that's what Dana put in your packet.
Perfect. Thank you.
JT, is the reason they would have gone with bond liability insurance because of the size of this bond? We generally don't see them this size, and they wanted to protect it just in case, even given our credit rating and all.
No, you could actually let Clayton talk about that, because they didn't, for instance, elect that bond insurance on the notes, which is 3 times the size of the general obligation bonds. They buy bond insurance when they believe that the insurance will affect the interest rate so significantly that it will make them a better bidder than if they had to bid it without. That's all. It is just simply a cost analysis. They look at your credit rating. The bond insurance on that issue, I think, was $18,800. And so they actually include that in their cost. It's in their underwriting fee. They pay it. We make them pay it. But it allows them to give us a better deal, and then they can be the low bidder. So that's I hate to say size doesn't matter, but that's not the definitive decision here in connection with the insurance.
Anyone
Thanks,
else?
JT.
Oh, go ahead.
No, just thank you. I was just telling him thank you.
Oh. All right. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion carries 6-0. Thank you for your time, sir. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Clay.
Matt, thank you for the valuable information you provided tonight, my friend. Wonderful work.
You're welcome, Mr. Mayor.
What would we do without you to pick on, man? All right. Annexation 11-1, Annexation Train Enterprise Edition. And Julie will talk to us about this tonight.
Mr. Mayor and members of the council, this may feel like deja vu at this point. This property owner at the corner of 54 and Southwest Meadowlark Road originally petitioned the city for annexation of his property back in 2024. And we performed what we thought was the full annexation process then. He has platted his property and received a conditional use and is operating as normally. Come to find, this is a so-called island annexation because, as you can see, his property is not adjacent to the existing corporate limits of the city. So we are required by law to take a slightly different approach to approve of this annexation. At the July 29th meeting of the governing body, you all adopted a resolution of intent to annex this property, responding to the petition from the owner. This triggered a case with the Board of County Commissioners, who at their September 9th, 2025 meeting agreed with our findings that this is an acceptable and amenable annexation. And so they have passed a resolution of their own that authorizes us to take this forward. So this item is the final ordinance that would fully annex this property into the city of Andover. As for the property owner himself, Mr. Train, nothing has changed whatsoever since we originally thought that we annexed him in 2024. There's been no change to his property whatsoever. We've kind of handled this process internally. It's kind of administrative cleanup is how I've described it.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
I move to approve an ordinance annexing the Train Enterprises Edition, generally located at 9947 Southwest Meadowlark Road and described in such ordinance.
Second.
Any further questions or discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion carries 6-0. 11-2, resolution of intent to annex South McCandless Road. And again, Julie will talk to us.
Mr. Mayor and members of the council, this is the second annexation item that I have for you. Responding to one of the items on our priority list for annexations, this is the area around South McCandless Road, which is at time of speaking surrounded by city limits almost on all sides. So this one is not an island annexation. In this case, this is a total of 35 properties, 34 of them being residential, and then one along US 54 is commercial in use. The properties have an existing sewer line, sanitary sewer, which runs down McCandless and serves the properties that are connected. There is also rural water number 5 water service. The properties are obviously connected to the City of Andover street system to the north, where McCandless intersects with US 54. The incoming improvements that KDOT is performing, we anticipate some redevelopment in the area, which makes this a prime time for us to initiate this annexation process. The annexation investigation that you all will find in your packets is a document that staff is required to put together with the very long-winded justification for why we think this will be appropriate to be annexed into the City of Andover. As I've said, the proximity, obviously already almost completely surrounded by city limits. The properties within this area benefit from some city services. Rural Water 5 obviously is not a city utility, but it does serve many of the properties within the city, as well as our roads and the access to a lot of other amenities that the city offers, like our parks and things like that. At the time that we put this together, this McCandless itself is currently a gravel street, and any improvement to it would have to come after a petition from property owners within the area to you all. So we don't plan to immediately perform any improvements like that upon annexation. If the annexation were to go through, the total mill levy on the properties in the area would increase by 15.888 mills as of 2025 mill levies, which means that it is approximately $256 per year for the residential properties and approximately $2,089 per year for the one commercial property. As a trade-off, though, certain city services would reduce in price. We charge more to those that are in the county. For example, our sewer service and trash service is more expensive when you're in the county than when you're within the city limits. And that is on page 22 of that annexation investigation. We break down the individual items that will change in price impact for the property owners affected. So this unilateral annexation process is very, very prescriptive as to how you all need to go about it. This item before you tonight is the resolution of intent to annex, which as a part of the motion, you all will set a date and time for a public hearing. So there is no hearing tonight, obviously. The public hearing has to be set within 60 to 70 days after you pass this resolution, which is kind of a short period of time. The December 9th meeting of the governing body does sit within there. So that's what we recommend you all set it to, but it doesn't actually have to be one of your regular meetings. At that time is when you would have a public hearing. Staff would notify affected property owners as well as a large list of other affected parties, which you can see in the investigation. Sometime before then, no less than 10 days before that public hearing, but we would do it more than that.
So is the property that's far north, does that exit onto the road to the west? Or am I thinking of another place? That's not the Y right there, is it?
To the west is the Y, yeah.
Yeah, so the one property on the very north, it's got access to that road. All the others.
Right, I'm not sure if they've got a drive, but yeah, all the rest of these have to use McCandless to access the tree system. During the KDOT improvements there, if they do lose access to 54 for some reason, I believe that we'll try to get them connected to YMCA Drive. I'm not sure that they're going to lose access though, since all of those houses are on the single road there.
So will that change their access to where they access to 400, that north home?
We don't anticipate that after any improvements, there's a different spot that they would connect, but to do work on the intersection, they may temporarily. That's something I don't know for sure yet.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, sir.
So what's the little sliver in the top to the left of the big square? I believe that's the business. What's that little sliver there then east of the Y, south of 54 in that box? Why isn't that hashtagged in? Is that already city limits?
Let me take a look.
That's the property I'm thinking of, isn't it? I was confused, I'm sorry.
Where the house got moved.
Yeah.
I will note on the north east, where just across McCandless, the area that is
northwest side.
I'm sorry, I was confused. Homer, that's the property I was referring to that accesses to, it's long and narrow and it accesses onto that road.
And we already have that in the city limits?
Correct.
Okay. And then
Go ahead.
we're not, I mean, are we going to be required for the street? Since I don't see that in the hashtags, we're not going to have to worry about the street until they say,
So we aren't planning to come in and pave as a part of this process. There are unfortunately still many gravel roads within the city. It is something that Public Works would add to their.
will we
list.
still grate this? Sorry, grate it, gravel. We will grade it and stuff like that. I just remember so we'll maintain it.
If you remember this, we'll treat this much like we did when we annexed Bicentennial Edition.
Yeah.
We will come in, evaluate it, likely do some improvements to it and such. But they will be all like gravel improvements, we won't go in and pave it or anything like that.
No, I just remember, I think it was Bicentennial, the folks hadn't seen, whoever maintained it before hadn't really seen any maintenance. When we took it over, it was maintained well within the time that we took it over. And so they should be excited about that, I would think.
I would suspect our maintenance schedule will be a little bit more routine
than what they're
they
used
have.
to.
Currently, it's Bruno Township's responsibility to maintain that road, and it would go under our Public Works Department after annexation.
So Julie, have we had any, I guess, have we communicated with all the properties that we're doing?
So no
this?
notification has been issued. That is, we have to do that closer to the hearing.
Okay.
So you all are announcing your intent to begin this process by passing this item, but no notification has been sent yet because no opportunity for input has been presented yet.
All right.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, sir.
I move to adopt a resolution of intent to annex the properties located generally near South McCandless Road, and more specifically defined in such resolution, and set a public hearing regarding the proposed annexation to be held at the regular meeting of the governing body on December 9th, 2025 in City Hall, 1609 East Central Avenue, Andover, Kansas.
Second.
Any further questions or discussion?
Mr. Mayor, is that the December 9th meeting then, Julie? Is that where people will come to that meeting and
Well,
say?
we'll have a hearing, so yes. Yeah.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, if I may, because tonight's not really, to everyone's point, contentious, right? Like, we're not making a decision. I would like to give kudos to community development, specifically Julie, Dylan, Les, and Jolene. You can see from this document, for good reason, you really have to make a case to annex land that they have not come to you. The difference in the two annexations tonight for the public is in the train property, they came to us and said, I'd like to be a part of the city. This is the opposite time when you go to annexation, where you say you're surrounded on nearly, if not all sides, depending on the piece of property. For all intents and purposes, you are a part of this community. And at this time, we're going to go ahead and bring you in. So I wanted to say tonight, because maybe it won't feel quite as appropriate at a future date. Thank you for the work put into this.
Mr. Mayor.
Yes, Mike.
Yeah, this has been on, I guess, the list for a while. That and a few other places, but yeah, I think this is a great thing. They're, like you said, already surrounded, and welcome to Andover soon.
All right, anyone else? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion carries 6-0. So enlighten me a little bit. How far does the sewer line go down 400 in relation to Train's property? Doesn't get that far out, or where's it? How is that? And I don't have to know tonight. I'm sorry. I should have.
Actually got it kind of up here.
We have a sewer interceptor that crosses 54 just east of Prairie Creek Road.
And train was at Meadowlark, so is that another
mile
or half mile?
It's a mile east of Prairie Creek Road.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, there's quite a bit of sewer connections, it appears. Looking at the map. So, yeah.
All right, Vista Ridge, second edition, Baughman Engineering Agreement, and Jolene will speak to us about this. How are you tonight?
I'm doing well. Thank you, Mayor. Mayor and Council, tonight we have before you engineering agreement from Baughman Company. It is for Vista Ridge, second edition, phase 1. And you had accepted these petitions and approved the resolutions and work ordinance and developers agreement at your May 27th, 2025 meeting. Baughman is the engineer who prepared the final plat for this property, and typically we retain them for the design and construction services or inspection of the work. However, as in the same way that you did this for Vista Ridge first, due to the improvements that are happening in coordination with Yorktown, all parties are in agreement that PEC, the engineer providing the construction inspection on site for Yorktown, will also provide the construction inspection for Vista Ridge first and Vista Ridge second. So you'll note tonight that this engineering agreement is a little different in that sense, in that it's just for the design. And we do find that the amount of the agreement is within the range typical for this type of design.
Anyone have any questions?
I'm sorry. Yes, I have a question. Jolene, you said PEC, but this says Baughman?
Correct. You're approving an agreement tonight with Baughman, and it's for the design only. Coming in the future will be an agreement with PEC to do the inspection piece of the work being done on site. And it will be for Vista Ridge first and Vista Ridge second. And that will come to you in the future.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
I move to approve the agreement with Baughman Company, PA, Wichita, Kansas, for engineering design for the public improvements related to Vista Ridge Second Edition, Phase 1, in the not to exceed amount of $183,900.
Second.
Thank you, Phil. Any further questions or discussion?
How many units again is this, Les?
I think the whole second edition was about 85 or 90 lots.
Okay.
Are we happy with the progress they're making on Yorktown, or is it hard to say?
They're staying pretty close to the schedule, which has been tough given all of the rain that we had over the spring and summer.
Okay.
The last couple of weeks of dry weather has showed some really good progress. They're actually yet this week intend to get the base course of asphalt down around the Butler campus, both on Commerce and Yorktown.
And if I remember right, you told me that's quite a drainage project through there, right?
Yes, there was over a mile of storm sewer pipe.
All right. Anyone else? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion carries 6-0. Sanitary sewer connection surcharge, and Jolene will again speak about this.
Oops, I think we have some slides popping up there for you. This is a continuation of our conversation from your workshop on September 8th. We talked that evening about how the fees were in conflict with the resolution and how some of the language is in conflict with how it is working in practice. I'd really like to take this time to thank JT and his legal team for doing a lot of work to bring this ordinance and resolution before you tonight in such a fast turnaround time. Just a couple reminders as to what we're doing tonight. The current rate is 75% of the residential surcharge connection fee for your non-residential connections. It is based on an estimated water use for every 6,000 gallons. And then the way that the current ordinance is written is that that secondary fee is supposed to be determined within 18 months and charged to the customer to reconcile the difference between the estimated and then the actual. We talked about how that is an administrative burden, and so your proposed ordinance tonight eliminates this section as we discussed. We also had in attendance that night some representatives of developers in an apartment complex. And we discussed the efficiency in the density provided by multifamily units, particularly quadplexes and above. And the consensus that evening was to reduce the surcharge to 75% of the residential sewer connection surcharge fee per unit. So if it's a quadplex, it's 4 units and so forth. And the ordinance does reflect that change as well. We talked about updating our fine for any violations for connections that are not authorized by the city. It increases the maximum fine from $100 to $500. And then we just did some general cleanup. We removed all references to $1,500 as the surcharge fee, as that was outdated. And we also talked about billing actually occurring at the time the permit is pulled, which is our current practice and not a separate invoicing type system. We also fixed some missing sections in the sliding scale. This is an additional percentage off for commercial businesses as an incentive to them. And so this fills in the gaps of our current ordinance. And just for reference there, most of our commercial users are underneath that 210,000 gallons. So that finishes up the ordinance. The second piece is the resolution, which addresses the actual establishment of the fee. And the current resolution establishes the surcharge to increase annually at 4%. And our current surcharge rates are there both inside the city limits and outside the city limits. We talked at our workshop about reducing that annual increase to 2.5% to more closely align with inflation and to mitigate some pretty hefty exponential increases over time. And that will begin on January 1st of 2026. And so before you tonight is 2 actions. The first will be the ordinance and then the resolution that sets the fee. And in terms of financial implications, we reviewed that and worked real closely with Rick, and I thank him for his close review of these rates. And we do not anticipate them to have a significant effect at all. If you have any questions, I'm happy to take them.
Anyone?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
I move to approve the ordinance amending Chapter 16, Article 7 of the Code of the City of Andover, Kansas, reflecting adjustment, approval method, approved adjustments, and regulations to the sewer connection surcharges for the Andover wastewater utility.
Second.
Any further questions or discussion?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
just more of a comment. I mean, to the public, we spent better part of a workshop on this on beginning of the month, September 8th. So I don't want you to think that we don't know any of this or that kind of stuff. We've done, research, and Rick and Jolene have talked about it at our workshop. So we do know what we're doing here.
Just be clear, it does make it better for people to do business in our fine city, correct? Yep.
Yes.
So it's a good move for Andover to do more economic development in regards to commercial and apartment complexes. Anyone else? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion carries 6-0. Sewer connection surcharge fee resolution. Again, Jolene.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
I move to approve the resolution adjusting the sewer connection surcharge fees.
Anyone?
Second.
Any further questions or discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion carries 6-0. man, I don't know how to say it. Axon, is that right? Axon Taser purchase, and Buck will talk to us about this.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mayor and Council. Tonight, I'm bringing to you the TASER purchase agreement. As you know, TASER is part of our mandatory, one of the items we have to cover between TASER, baton, what have you. And our current TASERs that we have is the X26 and X26P. Not many X26Ps, but TASER or Axon is no longer manufacturing the X26s, phasing those out, which they're going to the TASER 7 and the TASER 10. We've done a very much extensive research. Tom, I'm proud of him. He's here tonight because he's a go-getter and negotiating a lot, getting a lot more than either other agencies in the area as we were doing this. But our X26s were purchased back in 2014. Our 26Ps were in 18. And there's about a 5-year life cycle. We've been able to use those, and as long as you're treating them right and your equipment, you can get them longer, but yet now it's becoming cost effective, or it's not cost effective on our X26Ps. So we have to each year practice, use practice rounds and everything else, and they expire as well. So the cost for the cartridges are so expensive that it's making it to where it's just not going to be effective on us at all, and to replace them as we're going. So Tom did a lot of research with it, negotiated a lot to get even things that we initially weren't going to have. We had them take out of there. We don't need this. We don't need that. Where they were able to put it back into the budget. So their fiscal year ends actually tonight. October 1st is when it starts over. So that's where we're hoping to get this done tonight, so that it's about $20,000 extra we're getting, with includes training. So we have to send someone each year. So they're giving us a 5-year to include their training on this. The TASER cartridges, so we won't have to purchase those the next 5 years. Those are included as far as our training cartridges and stuff is included in that, as well as our system already has it. So we already have the Axon system. So the software and everything else that comes with that. There's advantages over the 7 compared to the ones we are currently using. It gives you a 2-shot compared to 1. In case you don't have a good connection, you're able to have another shot where you can get that better connection on it. We looked at the TASER 10 right now, and Tom can tell you we are not confident in it yet, just because it's very new, and I'm not a fan of buying something brand new right off the market, because there's going to be a lot of issues that could come about with this. So Tom and I both were like, we're not buying it yet. We need to hold off. That down the road, if it's improves or does something better, then probably. But for right now, we know that the TASER 7's been around long enough that it's very effective in what we need to do. Unfortunately, we're not going to give a demo tonight. I know some of you are looking forward to that, but that might be at another council meeting. But again, I want to brag on Tom, because he did an amazing job putting this together. And he's here tonight, so that way he can, hopefully, if it's approved, get the mayor's signature and immediately fax it over to the gentleman that's going to be doing this, because if not, then the costs are different after tomorrow. We will not purchase this until January 1st. We're just getting the agreement so we can get the cost in where they're at. So January 1st, we have it in the budget already to be able to do this as of right now. The initial cost over the 5 years is $139,752. The first year is $15,000, and then it goes up to $31,188 for years 2 through 5. The master service agreement, we've already had that agreed and reviewed by our attorney's office. And that one, it was included in our body cameras, that it also included the TASER 7. So there's nothing that's changed or new as far as the service agreement goes. Myself or Tom's available for questions if you have any.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, sir.
You mentioned 7 and 10. Was there an 8 or 9?
No, just a 7 or 10 now.
And when did the 10 come out this year?
No, it's been what? Last year, I believe. Yeah, sometime last year.
So it's still too new to.
I did send somebody to be an instructor. So there was one of the agencies had a free instructor class they had available. So we put Troy Snedeker, he's one of our instructors, and hey, let's go get it certified on this. And it's just, there's a lot still we're not going jumping into it. Now the cost, we did look at that as well, was significantly higher for that one as well. Okay. So we looked at what's the best use for our money for the city. We looked it around as well for many other, see if there's any other vendors. There was one out there, kinda, but they were being sued by TASER because it looks like a TASER. So we're not touching that one, but that was it. There's no other vendor. So we make sure we do our due diligence to make sure we had the appropriate research on this.
How many brands? I mean, is there more than one?
Nope, okay. Just TASER. There was another brand, but yet again, they were being sued because they tried to copy TASER. But we looked hard for it, but.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
are all the components by USA?
So I don't know. It's a great answer. I know for our drones, I just sat in a class Friday about drones that we cannot purchase anything from certain countries, drones, everything else. So I believe, Tom, is Taser US?
I can't speak to where they're made, but Axon is an American company based in Arizona.
Anyone else?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
I move to approve the purchase of 30 Axon Taser 7s, including instructor course, officer certifications, training target, training suite, and license for a total cost of $139,752 over the next 5 years, subject to annual appropriation.
Second.
Jody. Any further questions or discussion?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
what's annual appropriation?
So that's something that our city attorney loves and wants to make sure it's in there, because if next year we come and the city doesn't have money, we can't get it in our budget, and that means that we no longer have to be a part of this program. That's a way we can get out of. Is that good enough, JT?
Yeah, so you actually cannot sign an agreement to pay money in the future that would bind a future city council. The only exception to that are notes and bonds, which you just approved a lot of. But as a general rule, all contracts have to be finite and basically end at the end of the budget year. Obviously, we sign things like photocopier leases and agreements for this kind of thing. And so we just make them subject to annual appropriation. If a future governing body did not appropriate the funds for that, then you wouldn't legally be obligated to pay for it. They'd get the tasers back, but you wouldn't be legally obligated. And just before you get any ideas, you couldn't appropriate for a different kind of taser either. The reason people are willing to enter into these agreements, it's like, for instance, a lease of a police car. It's subject to annual appropriation, but they know you're going to need the police car, so you're probably going to find a way to appropriate for it. And this is a similar circumstance. Very good question.
Thanks, JT.
And Mike, they are made in Scottsdale, Arizona.
Ah, good.
Google is a friend.
All right. Any further questions or discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion carries 6-0. I had one of Andover's finest say he would rather get tased than pepper sprayed. Oh, you said that too? Really? I wanted to give it a try, but that train left the station, so.
No, I think we can still.
I think we can make that work.
No, we can't. I promise.
Tried.
Not anymore?
I've been tased. It's not fun, but I'll do it again.
All right. Change order, Yorktown Parkway, change order 5, and Les is going to talk to us about this.
Mr. Mayor and Council, the change order for your consideration tonight is a combination of additional work on the Yorktown Parkway project that is more or less centered around those two agreements that you had with the adjacent residential developers to add a little bit of work to our project to accommodate their street intersections, their water connections, their storm sewer connections, and so forth. There is a bit of extra work that came up around the Butler campus where there was some chain link fencing that was hidden in the trees that had to be removed. That work will be assessed to the Butler Benefit District projects, but all in all, the majority is centered around that extra work for the subdivisions.
Any questions?
What, Mr. Mayor?
Yes, sir.
What I hear you saying then is we'll essentially get this back through special assessments.
Some of it will get back through special assessments to the two subdivision projects. The extra work up around the Butler campus is a benefit district. but the Butler agreement limits Butler's exposure, so those will ultimately be city at large costs just through that particular set of benefit districts.
Anyone else? Can I get
Mr.
a-
Mayor?
Yes, sir.
I move to approve the change order number 5 with Pearson Construction to add work preparatory to the Vista Ridge Second Edition in the Yorktown Parkway project in the amount of $93,578.90.
Anyone?
Second.
Any further questions or discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion carries 6-0. Executive session 16-1,
Mr. Mayor?
Sorry, go. Non-elected personnel KSA 75-4319B1.
Mr. Mayor?
Mhm.
I move to recess into executive session to discuss personnel matters of non-elected personnel pursuant to KSA 754319B1. The meeting will include the governing body, the city attorney. The open meeting will resume in the council chambers at 8:40 PM.
Second.
Any further questions or discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion carries. Thank you.
second.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
I move to come out of executive session.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion carries 6-0.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
I move to recess into executive session to discuss personnel matters of non-elected personnel pursuant to KSA 754319B1. The meeting will include the governing body and the city attorney. The open meeting will resume in the city council chambers at 8:55.
Second. Any further questions or discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion carries 6-0. Sir.
I move to come out of executive session.
Second.
Any further questions or discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion carries 6-0.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
I move to recess into executive session to discuss personnel matters of non-elected personnel pursuant to KSA 754319B1. The meeting will include the governing body and the city attorney. The open meeting will resume in the council chambers at 9:15.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion carries 6-0.
Second.
Any further questions or discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion carries. Member items, and I'll start with Mr. Berry.
I don't have any tonight, Mr. Mayor.
Shout out to Megan and Beth and everyone else on Andover Days. It was awesome. I heard awesome reviews from pretty much everyone. Beth and I talked multiple times during it. She said it was going pretty smoothly, so shout out to them.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Again, reiterating what Phil said, a huge shout out to the staff committee. Of us that were on the committee. I think, was Paul on the Greater Andover Days committee? No? Did we have somebody from city council on? No? Oh, anyway. Well, thanks to all staff, Megan, for, the sponsorships, raising that, helping subsidize some of the Greater Andover Days. People don't always buy the buttons and stuff, but that was awesome. I love the bracelet idea. Beth, great job on the theme and the activity. And then did we have a parade float winner? I wanted to point out, man, one of the biggest, probably most money, I would say, invested because of what was on the float was Andover Rental. So a huge shout out to them on their float, but then they also sponsored the buttons. So I thought that was really cool. Nathan
Elmore.
He actually shut down for the day so that they could participate in the parade. So I just thought when we were talking earlier about community and stuff and really coming together, I thought that was a shining example of what Greater Andover Days has and what we have. Voting's coming out, so make sure you get ready, get out and vote. Do your pre-voting if you need to. If you can't get out, we have 2 voting sites here in Andover, so that'll be nice. Preparations are underway for city campaigns, so make sure city council campaigns. The chamber is having a meet and greet candidate forum at the Butler County Kansas building Thursday, August 2nd, I believe it's October. Sorry. This coming Thursday, Andover City Council, we have 3 seats coming open and 4 people running. It looks like all 4 of them are going to be there. And then the Butler College trustees, I don't know how many spots are open, but they have a bunch running as well. And they'll be there that night. So thanks to the chamber for putting that on. I'm excited about the concerts and the turnouts. Last year when we were talking to ASM, Mr. Rackley, thanks for bringing that up. Last year when we were talking about it and it's like, we didn't have anything and we still had to pay. This helps me when I say we have to pay them, but we're having these concerts. So I really like that. And let's see what we can do to work on them with city constituents of Andover and if that we can benefit that. Although it sounds like it was a $300 thing, I don't feel like that's a huge, wall to put up for somebody, the city at least having some teeth in the game as far as cleanup and that kind of stuff after those festivities. Man, great job to the park and signs department for putting up the signs, the park signs at Cornerstone, Redbud Trailhead, Williamsburg, and Village Parks. They really look awesome. I drive by the Cornerstone one, Jody. I don't know if you've seen it, but it really makes that park pop. And the logo looks good on those new blue signs. Kids Fest is October 11th at Central Park. Can't wait for that. That's definitely, if you have the younger kids, that's a good time to come hang out in Central Park, enjoy the concert and all the things that we have for Kid Fest. Chief Buck, you guys are out there all the time and enforcing it. And I know Tim and Jody's brought it up, but man, watch the school zones. There was one, this morning, I'm up, across from the high school, literally getting done, pulled over, younger kid getting into the parking lot. And no sooner than I was past the Redbud Trail, the lights were going on that they were pulling someone else over. So make sure you're watching your speed in the school zones. And then was there any update on the AED at the senior center?
We were able to secure funds for the AED and is on order. So we're just waiting for it to be delivered.
Sweet. Thank you. All right. That's it.
Are you sure?
There's like nothing else you got?
I made up for it. I haven't had a lot of them.
All right. Man, I'm just, I forgot what I was going to say.
Well, I'm sure he probably covered it.
All right, Jody. you got anything?
Well, the only thing left on the calendar of events that did not get covered by Councilman Henry, this Saturday, Spalding's is hosting once again that 0.27K. It is this weekend. It's on Saturday at 3 p.m. Make sure you get signed up. Make sure that you get your T-shirt. And we are going to once again be walking and supporting for the Police and Fire Foundation. So super grateful for Ray and what they do at Spalding's, and super excited once again for another fun event.
So they raised, just it's worth saying, they raised 13K last year, 13,000 bucks. And I have no reason they won't surpass that.
And everybody can do a 0.27K.
Yeah, everybody can. I make it.
Mayor does it Mayor does it every year.
Yeah, 3 times, cause anyway, and we also have did you say the fruit stand, what do they call them? Farmers market at the Heritage?
I did not say that.
Saturday. Is that right?
I think
Yes, yeah, we're having a farmer's market at the Heritage Square. It will be under the parking garage, so they'll be in the shade and keep their peaches and stuff all nice and fresh. So be sure to come out and what? Come out and support them. And by the way, Nathan Elmore, he does stuff that people don't know. He's got a hydroponic garden at one of our high schools that he is very involved in. So I know we don't, but a lot of people forget, man, our businesses in town support this community like none other, man. It's just truly amazing the money they spend and support our city. So, all right, Mike, I'm sorry. I didn't mean-
I like to defer my time to Homer.
I'm just going to echo everything they said. But again, to the city and our first responders and everybody, it was a really cool week to be able to be so proud of Andover and be a part of everything. Not that we aren't all the time, but thank you for all the work you guys put in. It goes really overlooked a lot of times, but the more we get involved with the city and understand what it takes, it truly is amazing to me. And I think it's something for Andover to really be proud of.
And thank you for the fire department and whoever else was involved in getting a defibrillator for the senior center. I personally don't need it, but it'd be good for them to have. All right. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
Mr. Mayor, I move to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion carries 6-0. Thank